Surprise! Hey kids, so we have been talking about all the ways that Jesus is surprising. Remember, he had surprising friends, he had surprising conversations, and he had some surprising healings. And next week is Easter, where we're going to get to celebrate Jesus' biggest surprise ever. But this week, I want to focus in on the story where Jesus was a part of a surprising party. Not a surprise party, like a birthday party or something like that, but a party that was surprising because of who was invited. So let me tell you about it. There's one day that Jesus was teaching just like he normally would, and there's this large crowd following him. And as Jesus was done teaching, he walked by and he saw this tax collector sitting at his booth, and his name was Matthew. Now, tax collectors were not really liked by a lot of people, and do you know why that is? Well, have you heard of taxes before? They're actually something we still have today, and there are all different kinds of taxes we have today. We have income tax, so every time you make money, a part of that is set aside for the government. There's taxes that you have to pay for owning your house or your land, and there's something that you guys have probably experienced known as sales tax, where whenever you buy something, part of that money goes back to the government. So have you ever been to the gas station? Imagine with me, you spent all week at home working really hard, earning up $1, so you could go to the gas station and buy your favorite candy bar. Maybe it's a Milky Way. So you go to the gas station, you look around, you find your Milky Way, and it says $1.00. You're like, great, I have $1 bill right here in my hand. So you pick up your Milky Way, you walk up to the cash register, and you put it up there. The lady scans it, and she says, okay, that'll be $1.07. Wait, the sticker said $1. Where'd that extra 7 cents come from? That's what sales tax is, and it's something that we have to pay, and it's just kind of the way it is right now. But in these days, people really did not like the people who collected the taxes, and the reason that would be was, so the tax collectors were Jewish people, and the government in charge of them right now was Roman. So this Roman government was in charge of these Jewish people, and what the government said was to some of these Jewish people, I have a way for you to make a lot of money. You have to go around and collect taxes from your friends and family, and whatever extra you collect from, if it's more than what the actual tax is, you get to keep that extra money. So not only were these people not liked because they were working for the Roman government, but they weren't liked because they were stealing from their friends and from their family. And in fact, they, after that, did not really have many friends. Pretty much the only friend a tax collector would have would be another tax collector, and they probably weren't even really great friends. They just were outcasts together, right? So back to Jesus. Jesus is walking by just after teaching with this large crowd of people following him, and he pulls up to Matthew the tax collector's booth. And I could imagine if I was in the crowd, I'd be thinking, oh man, Jesus is probably about to lay into this guy. He's going to tell him he needs to stop stealing, and he needs to be honest and give back what he's taken from people, and Jesus is going to really, really just come down on this guy and yell at him and just tell him how bad he is. But Jesus didn't do that. Jesus walked up to Matthew and simply said, follow me. What? He wanted this tax collector to follow him, to be one of his disciples? Matthew could not believe it. The Bible tells us that right then and there, Matthew left everything he had so he could follow Jesus. Matthew was not used to being invited in, especially by someone like Jesus, someone who was a rabbi, a teacher of the law, someone that people respected and looked up to. So Matthew leaves his booth, and there was probably a big stack of money at that booth that he was going to go turn in later, and he just left it. He knew that following Jesus was better for him than all of this money. So Matthew goes back home, and he invites all of his sinner and tax collector friends, because those were the only friends he had. He invited them over for this party to celebrate that he met Jesus and was going to follow Jesus. And Jesus, attended this party as well. He was hanging out with these sinners and tax collectors and people that no teacher of the law would want to hang out with. They were seen as dirty, sinful people who they would say God didn't love, even though we know that's not true. God does love them. And these Pharisees, do you remember the Pharisees? They're the teachers of the law. They're the ones who know all the law and follow all the rules and make sure everyone else is following all the rules. They see Jesus at this party and they asked, why is he hanging out with these sinners and these tax collectors? And Jesus, he overheard them and he looked to them and he said, tell me, who needs to go to the doctor? Is it someone who is healthy or someone who is sick? It's someone who's sick, right? You don't go to the doctor unless maybe it's for like a yearly checkup when you're healthy. But when you're sick and you need medicine and you don't know what's wrong with you, that's when you go to the doctor to get their help and to get the medicine that they can give you. And what Jesus is saying is that these people, they were sick. They were sick with sin. Remember, we talked about this last week with Katie, how the leper, remember we talked about this last week with Katie, how this paralyzed man, he wanted his legs and arms healed, but Jesus first healed him on the inside. He healed his sin sickness. And Jesus wanted to be with these people who were sick because he was the one who could ultimately bring healing. Not them working really hard, not some other doctor, but Jesus is the one who brings this healing for the sick people. And Jesus loves to be with us when we are sick and when we are broken. So what I want you guys to know today is that there is no way that you could ever be too sick or dirty feeling or like you've messed up too many times that Jesus will say, whoa, that was too much. I can't hang out with you now. Jesus will always want to hang out with you and want to be with you and want to share his love and grace with you. But there will come this time where we've been with Jesus so much that we start to experience and understand his love. And when we do that, we get to go out and join other sick people and bring that same love to them. Just like you're hearing about this love here and hopefully at your homes and other places where you hear about the love that God has for you and that he will not leave you or forsake you. You can turn around and you can be with these other sick people. Maybe it's someone at your school who gets bullied. Maybe it's someone who is a bully, and you can bring this same love to them that Jesus gives to you. Don't be like the Pharisees who say, we don't want to go near these people, but instead be like Jesus and go to where people are hurting, where they are broken, and bring the love that Jesus has given you to them. Guys, Jesus is so surprising. He continues to surprise us today as well. And if we just keep our eyes open, we'll start to see every single day something that Jesus is doing that is surprising that only he can do. So I will see you guys later. Bye.